Hi everyone and welcome back to the channel. Today our topic is on multiplying decimals by powers of 10. Learners, have you ever noticed that when we multiply by 10, 100 or 1000, the number becomes bigger very quickly? Alright, then today I will show you a simple pattern that makes multiplying decimals by powers of 10 fast and easy. And when we say powers of 10, we are talking about numbers like 10, 100, 1000, 10,000, 100,000 in that order. Okay, so these numbers are all powers of what? 10. And I'll show you that by the end of this particular lesson, you should be able to multiply decimals by 10, 100, and 1000. You should be able to explain what happens to the decimal point, and then you should be able to solve real life word problems using the skills. But before we dive in to look at some examples, I want you to have these key ideas in mind. So when you are multiplying a decimal by powers of 10, you should know that when you multiply by 10, you are moving the decimal point one place to the right. So assuming that you have a decimal point like, let's say, example, say you have a decimal point like 1.0, sorry, 0.1. So we have our example to be example 0.1 times 10. So this is telling you that you move the decimal because it's having one decimal place and you are multiplying by 10, you move the decimal point once to the right. So you stand on the decimal point, you move to where? 1. So it tells you that 0.1 times 10 is giving you the answer as what? 1. I hope you are following. All right. So it says that when you are multiplying by 100, you move the decimal point 2 places to the right. So assuming you have 0.25 times 10, sorry, 100, you move the decimal point 2 places to the right. Okay, 2 places to the right. So you have 1, 2. So the decimal point will not come here, giving you what? 25. I hope you are following. So assuming that you have 0.1 times 100, it tells you to move the decimal point where? 2 times to the right. So this will be 1, 2. So you fill this place with what? 0, giving you what? 10. So it means that when you multiply 0.1 by 100, you should get 10 to be your answer. So this is what we are talking about. Now you have a number or a decimal fraction multiplied by 1000. You move the decimal point 3 places to where? The right. So assuming you have 0.2 times 100, sorry, 1000, it should give you what? You move the decimal point 3 times to the right. So you stand on the decimal point, you move 1, 2, 3. So you are now going to have, then you fill this place with what? Zeros. So you now have 200 as your answer. All right. So this is a very important idea you should have in mind. Now, remember that the number of zeros tells you how many places to move the decimal point. This is very, very important. The number of zeros that you are multiplying with. If it is 1000, you know that you are moving 3 times because it has 3 zeros. If it is 100, you are moving 2 times because it has 2 zeros. If it is 10, you move 1 time because it has what? 1 zero. So that is enough to give you a clear answer to the problem. All right. So with that in mind, let's have a look at the steps you take when you are giving examples to solve. Okay? These steps are very important and then you need to follow them to arrive at what? Good answers. So we have steps to follow. So the first step is that 1, you should count the number of zeros in the power of 10. So count the number of zeros in the power of 10 that you were given. So the second point is move the decimal point to the right that many places. So move the decimal point to the right that number of 0 times. All right, and finally, number 3, if there are no more digits, add zeros. So if there are no more digits, add what? Add 0. Now that we have seen here that in this place, you see that as we move, there are no more zeros. So you what? You add zeros. So here 0, here 0, before we're able to get the 200. So this is what we are talking about. And then here, because it's 0.1 and we move it, there's no 0 here, we added what? This 0 to make it what? 10. So if there are no more zeros after the last digit of the decimal fraction that we're given, you add what? Zeros to it. All right. So let's look at some examples then. So we are going to look at some examples and then see how best to put all that we have talked about right now into what? Into practice. All right. So our first example is multiply 3.4. So examples. 1. Multiply 3.4 sorry. So let's have multiply 3.4 by 10. All right, so the first step is to what? 10 has 1 0. So you should put that at the back of your mind. So move the decimal place to the right 1 times. So we have 3.4. Then you move the decimal place 1 time to the right. So the decimal place is now here, giving you what? 34. So therefore, 3.4 times 10 is equal to what? 34. All right. Example number 2. So we have number 2. It said what? Multiply 0. What? 56 times what? 100. So 0.56 times what? 100. So we know 100 have what? 2 zeros. So you write a 0.56. Then you stand on the decimal point. So because it has 2 zeros, you are going to move 2 times. So you have 1, 2. So the decimal point will now come here, giving you what? 56. Therefore, 0.56 times 100 is equal to what? 56. That's our answer. All right, so we have example number 3, which will be an application question. An application question. Okay. So we have, it says that a rope is 2.75 meters. So a rope is 2.75 meters long. So what is its length in centimeters? What is its length in centimeters? So it says, what is its length in centimeters? So now, with this question, we need to understand this, that we have something to remember here. So we know how to do conversions, okay? We learn about measurement in grade 6, and then we should understand that in measurement, we have some conversions of some units from one unit to another. So here we have meters and we are converting to what? Centimeters. So we know that the solution, we should know that 1 meter is equal to 100 centimeters. 1 meter is equal to what? 100 centimeters. All right, so that is the short. Let me write it in full. 100 centimeters in full. So 100 centimeters. So if 1 meter is equal to 100 centimeters, now we have 2.75 meters. So the meters, the symbol is M, and the centimeters, the symbol is cm. Let's take note of that. So since we have 2.75 meters, then what we need to do is that before we get that 2.7 meters in 100 or in centimeters, sorry, so we are to find the 2.75 meters in centimeters. So if we know that 1 meter is equal to 100 centimeters, then to get 2.75 meters, we need to multiply by what? 100. I hope you are following. So this tells us that, let me use this to represent that. So if 1 meter is equal to 100 centimeters, then 2.7 meters will be equal to what? Let's say x. So let's represent it with a variable. And then we do cross multiply. This one multiply this one multiply this. So we now have 2.75 meters times 100. Then whatever answer we get here will be the answer to the problem or the question that we're given. And we know that we are multiplying by what? 100. So, and we have learned in the steps that when it has 100, we are moving the decimal point how many times? 2 times to the right. So we stand on the decimal point. So 2.75, you stand on the decimal point, and you move 1, 2 to the right. So the decimal point will now come here. So this will give us what? 275. Therefore, 2.75 meters to centimeters is equal to 275 centimeters. So the rope is 275 centimeters what? Long. I hope that is clear. All right, so we need to understand this. You see, there is something unique when it comes to this multiplication. The only thing is follow the steps that we have studied or looked at so far, and then you'll be able to what? Apply them. Remember that when we multiply each digit, or when we multiply, each digit shift to a higher place value. So anytime you multiply, the digit shift to what? A higher place value. You see that it is 2.75. When we multiply by 100, it moved to 275. So always understand that. And this is based on the place value system that we look at, which is a key concept in mathematics. So the place value system is very important. And then the reason why this works is that we know we have 10 which is the same as 10 divided by 1, 100 divided by 1, and then 1000 divided by 1. And as it does, all these numbers remains the same. And anytime you multiply a number by any of these, 10, 100, 1000, the digits move higher, or it shifts to a higher place value. Learners, it is your time to also try your hand on these examples. So this is your assignment. You have to complete and put your answers in the comment section. All right, so we have your assignment. Assignment number 1. You can pause the video, solve it, come back to check if your answers are correct with the ones I'll be providing. So pause the video. Number 1 is 4.8 times what? 10. You multiply. Number 2, 0.39 times what? 100. And then number 3, you have 6.025 times 1000. So you can pause the video, solve this, and then the answer key is 48, 39, and then 6025. So you pause the video and then you solve those problems, come back and check if your answer is correct. So thank you very much for today. Today we've learned how to multiply by 10, 100, thousands by moving the decimal point to the right. And then we also look at the number of zeros, tells us how many place values to move. And then we add zeros if needed. This concept is based on place value that we've already known. And this makes decimal multiplication simple and fast. And it is an excellent work for staying with me to this time. If this lesson helped you understand decimal place value or decimal point decimal multiplication better, then make sure you practice more examples at home, and then subscribe to the channel, click on the notification bell, and then so that anytime I release a new video, you'll be able to access it. In our next lesson, we will learn how to divide decimals by powers of 10, which moves the decimal point in the opposite direction. Keep practicing, keep improving, and I will see you in the next lesson. Stay blessed. Goodbye.